All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go for the season finale from Phoenix. Jeff Oakes, Vic Brown on the front row, Michael Whiting, Kevin Bruner on the second, Ryan Ward, Blake Veakin on the third row, Don Warren, Mark Dantum on the fourth, Paulo Anacito and Tim St. Jean round out the top 10. Derek Schilling starting in 11 next to Gerald Poole in 12th. Warren Moore in 13th, Gil Guanc in 14th, Jim Mott in 15th. Mark Nelson is in the field tonight in 16th. Darrell Whitford, John Shermott 17th and 18th. Jess Chambers and Craig Jennings 19th and 20th. John Talley starting in 21st, Pete Norquay in 22nd. Mike Burgess 23rd, Mark Parker rounds out the 24-car field. 80 laps here tonight, looking at anywhere from 29 to 32 laps on a tank of fuel. They will need 2 stops if it goes green. And remember, as always with Home Motorsports, no fast repairs, so these guys definitely have to be a little bit careful. And the 2 drivers closest in the championship have the front row. Mark Dantuma comes in tonight 3rd in points, still in the championship hunt, but he starts back in 8th. All right, here they come through 3 and 4. And the green flag flies. The season finale is underway at Phoenix. Craig Jennings has come on pit road. He made the last-minute decision to jump the pit road. Jeff Oakes quickly assumes the lead. Vic Brown currently in second. Michael Whiting battling with Ryan Ward for third. Ryan was very fast in practice tonight. Ryan cutting the dogleg early. I do expect to see a few drivers potentially try and stay out of the dogleg due to the amount of tire wear it causes. When it comes down to a battle for position, you gotta do what you gotta do. We'll be keeping an eye on Pete Norquay. In the 738, the red car in that group. The last since he came on board, he does not qualify and just marches his way through the field. He's already up 5 spots into 19. Mark Nelson is sporting a new paint scheme tonight. Can't remember the last time we saw Mark in a new paint. Speaking of guys named Mark Dantuma is losing some ground. Tim St. Jean peeked underneath, couldn't get there. Mark still holding on in 8th. As Jeff Oakes has just set the fastest lap so far. Vic Brown, however, keeping him within striking distance. Ryan Warp now in 3rd, is close to Vic's bumper. And a lot of guys hitting that turn 2 wall. That wall may not survive. Track temperatures actually come up a degree. It's now 71. Air temperature holding at 70 degrees. A little bit cooler than it was in practice for the air temperature. Track temperature is staying pretty steady, so at least it's what the drivers practiced on tonight. Jeff Oaks already about to be in lap traffic. Gray Jennings just ahead. Phoenix is one of those tracks, if they get spread out, we could see this go green to checkers. Home Motorsports is going green to checkers a bunch of times over the years. And Jeff Oaks came to play tonight. He has been out front since the drop. Vic not gaining any ground on him. Kevin Bruner, Michael Whiting now battling back behind. Nope, Bruner back behind. Whiting was going around the lap car. Bruner had caught up to him for a moment. But now Bruner has Blake Viken on his bumper. Mark Bantuma comes in tonight third in points, still in the championship hunt right now. In 8th place, but keep an eye on him. He is one of those drivers that starts coming forward over the course of the long run. And tonight could be about saving those tires. Michael Whiting still right there on Ryan Warp's bumper. Bruner reeling him back in. And Pete Norquay continuing his march to the front. Norquay comes by Derek Schilling. Already up 9 spots into 13. If Pete ever decides to qualify, the rest of the field could be in trouble. Michael Whiting has just taken third from Ryan Warp. Kevin Bruner, Blake Viken still battling back behind. Gerald Poole with that rough qualifying run, now up into 11th, right behind Paulo Inesito. St. Jean also up into 9th, but it wasn't able to get by Antuna earlier. Michael Whiting, meanwhile, is reeling in Vic Brown. And Vic is inching closer to the leader. Folks definitely has to try and maintain the lead tonight, not let Vic lead any laps and pick up any bonus points. He needs to do everything he can if he wants this title. Finally taken 5th from Kevin Bruner, has also brought Don Warren and Mark Dantuma closer. Tim St. Jean also starting to move back in along with Paul Anacito. And good evening, Brian. Pete Norquay still in 13th, reeling in Mark Nelson. Nelson also up 4 spots into 12th. Mark closing in on Gerald Poole ahead. It is kind of odd seeing Mark Nelson not in a red car. Can't remember the last time he drove anything other than a red car. Top 2 championship contenders nose to tail on track, and Michael Whiting now up in the mix. And they are already starting to lap cars. Mark Parker and Craig Jennings have already gone a lap down. John Shermont's about a straightaway ahead. Now remember, the drivers are looking at 29 to 32 laps on a tank of fuel, and you can bet based on tire wear tonight, every one of these drivers is going to take 4 tires and fuel. And Vic has just gone on the attack. Vic tried to utilize the dog leg to gain some ground. It didn't work, but Whiting's got to run. Michael Whiting sliding up into second. John Shermont's a lap car in the mix. Vic goes way low. Oh no, Michael Whiting's in the wall. The caution is out. The first caution of the night. Let's see if we can get a look at Michael Whiting's incident. There's Michael Whiting in the 98 coming down the back stretch. Or excuse me, down the front stretch, comes up into the lap car Shermont's and just goes nose first into the wall, gets it turned around, but man, he has got a lot of damage on that. This is going to work out for a lot of the field. They were only about 5-6 laps shy of making their first fuel stop, so a well-timed caution. Everybody hitting their pit stalls. Likely going to see everybody with 4 tires and fuel. And Pete Norquay is done for the night. I have no idea what happened with Norquay. He was on the march. But he came into pit road just as the caution came out, and he has called it a night. Jeff Oakes does win the race off pit road. Vic Brown coming out in second. Jeff still doing what he needs to do to win this championship. So far, he has been able to prevent Vic from leading a lap. All right, lights go out. The drivers get the 1 to green, and it seems like a good time to get a bit loud. So when the green flag drops, I'm going to shut up and let you guys crank it up and listen to all this horsepower. All right, pace car dives to pit road. And get ready to crank up the volume. Oh, Michael Whiting has a problem at a turn 4, or turn 2. Old turn 4, let's just call it that. All right, into the restart zone, the green flag flies. Crank it up, y'all. Sound. Jess Chambers is going to pit road unexpectedly. Michael Whiting has got that car still on track, but wow, it is beat up. He was up battling the top 3 until that contact, and Ryan Warp is now in second, trying to attack for the lead. Points leader Vic Brown currently in third. Mark the Mandan Tuma now up into fifth. Ryan still right on. Big bumper. Blake Beacon now up into fourth. Don Warren up into 6. Kevin Bruner in 7. Paul Inesito in 8. Derek Schilling in 9th. And the Mark Nelson now into the top 10. Looks like the Mark Nelson is now one of the biggest movers. But John Talley up 7 spots into 14. And Mike Burgess up 7 spots into 16. John Talley just quietly working his way through the field. Eric Schilling back in the Pink Floyd car. Ray Jennings has also just completed an unscheduled pit stop. Oh, Ryan really smacked the front stretch wall that time. Every car on this track is going to have some right rear damage before the night is out. They're definitely hanging it all out for the season finale. And remember, when we go into 2026, they have 4 seasons throughout the year, and then 1 season, then they combine it into the whole year. Richie Joplin just dominated the early seasons and has taken the year-long championship, but man, the final season championship championship still up for grabs between three drivers, Jeff Oaks, Vic Brown, and Mark Dantuma. Jeff Oaks lost last season's championship by 1 point and has lost the championship several seasons over the last 2 years by very, very close margins. Coming in tonight, Jeff Oaks has 3 wins this season over Vic Brown's 2 wins. Mark Dantuma's 2 wins, but Mark Dantuma has more top 10s. All 3 are actually equal in top 5s. And Vic Brown, the only one of those 3 to have a pole, and tonight makes his 2nd pole. No, I stand corrected. Excuse me, Jeff Oaks had the pole tonight. So his first pole of the season. Paulo Inesito, after that fresh set of tires, is starting to move. Looking underneath Derek Schilling. Trying to take 8th place. Derek trying to fight back up top. Both have a little bobble coming into turn 2 down the backstretch. Michael Whiting is on pit road. Jess Chambers is also still sitting. No, Jess is coming back out. Jeff Oaks' lead continuing to grow as we pass the halfway point. Now everybody can make the race on one more stop. As long as they can make it to about lap 51, which everybody should be able to, then they'll be able to run the final 28-29 laps from there. Paulo Inesito and Derek Schilling still going at it. Now they have Mark Nelson behind. And Gerald Poole is pulling up into the mix. Gerald now in 11th, closing in on this 3-car battle ahead. Paulo finally clears and opens the door. Mark Nelson is under Derek. And Warren Moore let's take a look at the replay. I think Warren may have had a moment. All right, there's Warren coming across the start-finish line. Oh, he just cut super low as he was going across the dog leg. No arm, no foul. Jeff's lead over Ryan Warp now 1.6 seconds. Big Brown still holds on to third. Ryan a little wobbly out of 2. Vic starting to close back up on him, but look who's right behind. Mark the Man Dantuma. Now, Mark is a home motorsports champ from past seasons. Can he repeat it here tonight? He is going to have a lot of luck because he has to get to the front and has to have both Vic and Jeff have problems. As Vic Brown trying to reclaim second. And looks like he's going to get it done. Mark is able to attack. He may take third. He does. Ryan slips back to fourth. Ryan was hammering it pretty hard after the pit stop. Trying to get up there to the leader. Now Vic Brown in second, over 2 seconds behind. But as they run now, Vic would be the new champ. As I mentioned right after the race, our fearless leader, Kevin Bruner, will get the points, the final calculations. There is one more drop week to be calculated. So that could still shake things up, but the gap between the top two still just 3 points. Mark Nelson now up into 8, Paulo Anacito to 7. Don Warren in 6, Blake Beacon in 5th. Jeff Oaks starting to come into some lap traffic. He'll go by 18th place, Jim Mott. Darrell Whitford currently in 17th, next on the list. Mike Burgess currently in 16th, but right behind 15th place Warren Moore. Gil Guak currently in 14th. John Talley now up 8 spots into 13th. He is closing in on Tim St. Jean. Gerald Poole in 11th, right on Derek Schilling's back bumper, and Kevin Bruner in 9th, just ahead. Kevin Bruner and Gerald Poole both came in the top 3 in overall year-long points. Both had amazing years in home motorsports. Ryan Warp is going to pit road. Ryan headed in. He does have some damage to the back of the car now. But this is likely the start of green flag stops. Everybody can make it from here. Mark Dantuma now battling with Vic Brown for second. And we told you earlier, keep an eye on Mark. He is often the fastest on the long run. He moves into second, but is 2 seconds behind Jeff Oaks as Jess Chambers is coming in. Kevin Bruner is in. Mark Parker is in. Jess Chambers is in. There's a problem and the caution is back out. And holy cow, what timing. Everybody will be able to get in with 4 tires and fuel. Let's see what happened to Ryan. Remember, Ryan just came off pit road on cold tires. He got loose and hold. Wow, Tim St. Jean barely misses that. And Jeff Oakes leading the field to pit road. Any penalties, any mistakes on pit road could be devastating right now. Every driver watching their speed very closely. Right side's going up. Looks like Mark Parker is going to be the lucky dog on this one. And Ryan Warp is out of the race officially. And something is wrong with Jeff Oakes. He's pulled over. And this is a catastrophe. Jeff Oakes had led every lap tonight up until this moment. And it looks like he must have got a speeding penalty coming off pit road that slides him back into 15th. He has got a lot of traffic to come through now. Pace car is in. Everybody is stacked up. Kevin Bruner getting waved back around. Jeff Oakes now back in 15th. Man, he has got a lot of... Vic Brown is showing a penalty. We'll see what happens. The green flag flies. They are back underway. Vic Brown is currently showing a black flag. We've got a problem. Out of turn 2. Cars are crashing in the infield. Derek Schilling involved. No caution yet. They're out of the racing surface. And now the caution will fly. And will that give Vic the opportunity to clear this black? The top 2 in points having problems late in the race. If Vic has to go to the back, they may have just handed this to Mark Dantuma. Alright, look like this started with Paulo Anacito there in the mud car. They're about 5 wide. It looked like him and Derek Schilling get together. See if we can get a look down from the chopper. Alright, Derek there in the pink Floyd car, and there you see the contact. Whoa, that was close for Gerald Poole. Derek had a wild ride. Somehow everybody avoided that. Sometimes, folks, it's better to be lucky than good. Vic Brown is still showing a black flag. Due to that incident, Jeff Oakes moves up to 13th. Mark Dantuma still has the lead. We'll see if the guys in race control and the admins clear the black for Vic Brown. Not sure what it's for. Well, this is going to be an interesting restart. If that black flag does not get cleared, you will see Vic suddenly disappear. Pace car dives in. Here they come down the backstretch. Ryan, that's kind of what I thought, buddy. That was heartbreaking. You were looking fast tonight. And the green flag flies again. Dantuma is away. Blake Deacon slipping underneath to take second. Unless our scoring system is off, Vic Brown is still showing a black flag. Warren Morris had a problem. No caution yet, 18 to go. Jeff Oaks is up to ninth. He is marching forward. But it is Mark Dantuma out front. And let's see what happened to Warren Moore. There's Warren in the yellow car. The outside looked like Burgess has gone into him. Looking down from the chopper at this one. Mike just pushes up a hair. It's enough to get into him, and the car behind also gets a piece of it. Perfectly honest, I was not surprised how well you were running. Wow, Vic is going in. Vic has been disqualified. The points leader has just been DQ'd from the look of it. Mark Dantuma is out front. Jeff Oaks is in sixth. This will likely be counted as that drop week we talked about, but Jeff Oaks is marching forward. Now Mark Dantuma is 8 points behind Jeff. Coming into tonight, Jeff has led the most laps so far, and actually nobody else is even capable of leading more laps now. But Mark Dantuma is out front, and if he pulls off the win, it's still possible for him to get his second home motorsports championship. Wow, it has been an eventful night for championship contenders. Vic Brown is officially out of the race. Let's see if we can get a quick word with him. Vic, it's Doug. You got me?
I got you, Doug.
All right, first off, what was the flag for?
The flag was for speeding on pace laps. Pace speeding.
Wow, I have never heard of anybody getting that in 5 years of broadcasting. That's impressive, dude. Obviously not for you. This will have to be one of your final drop week, but Man, that's a gut punch.
Yeah, big time. Lesson learned. So I talked to Kevin about it. He mentioned maybe whenever I got into the restart zone, I was at speed. But Mark mentioned, you got more distance to travel, or something, trying to keep pace. So a lesson learned. I'll just let the leader go next time, I guess.
Well, man, you were super fast tonight, and hopefully things fall your way. It's still very much up in the air tonight, man.
Yeah, we'll see. I appreciate it, Doug.
As we get 9 to go, you can definitely hear Vic is not a happy camper. Mark Dantuma out front, Jeff Oaks in 6th. Gerald Poole currently sitting in 5th. He has just made his way through quietly tonight, as has Don Warren, who's now up into 4th. Jeff is on maximum attack. Oh, Jeff Oaks is in the wall at a turn 2, hard. He is losing ground. Mark Nelson goes by. Tim St. Jean goes by. And championship contenders having issues tonight. What a wild, wild night. Oh, and John Talley just quietly started back in 21st. He is now up into 3rd. I guess he took Pete Norquay's place tonight. Man, what a march for him. Oh, Jeff just keeps pushing so hard he gets the wall. I believe it is Gil Block right on his bumper. But Mark Dantuma continues to lead, and could this lead to his 2nd championship? Blake Viken up into 2nd, one of his best runs in home motorsports. Blake has not had a lot of good luck since joining home motorsports, with only 1 top 5. Ryan, if you're gonna cheer for him, use the whole name. It's Blakey Poo Snickerdoodle Boo Boo. Jeff Oaks looking under Tim St. Jean at the moment. Mark Dantuma comes out of turn 4, sees popsicle sticks in the air, 2 to go. Wow, that is the first time I do believe Dantuma's taken the dog leg tonight. Good boy, Mark. Y'all know how I feel about this configuration. I ain't gonna say it. And here he comes out of turn 4. The white flag flies. One more time around for Mark, the man Dantuma. And could this win catapult him to his 2nd championship? We'll find out a few moments from now. But he's definitely going to victory lane. Into turn 3. Mark Dantuma will win the season finale at Phoenix. Blake Blakey Pooh Snickerdoodle Boo Boo coming home in second. And John Talley, the biggest mover of the night of 18 spots from 21st to 3rd. As I mentioned, here in a few moments, we will have our fearless leader, Kevin Bruner, join us to give us an update on the championship. Of course, as we mentioned, Richie Joplin not here tonight. He did end up winning the year-long title. And let's see if we can talk to our top three. Actually, at the moment, we only have our winner available, so let's talk to him. Well, Mark, the only championship contender that had 0 problems tonight, and it may have just won you your second home motorsports title.
Yeah, it's going to be close. I just had to do what I had to do. I was even going to try alternate strategy if it came to it. But this Navy Joe Coffee Company Chevy was just hauling anchor and was able to get it out front and keep it there.
See what happens when you drive a Chevy?
Yeah, if I was driving a Ford, I probably would have lapped the field.
No, you would have exploded at some point, and I would be talking about the late, great Mark Dantuma right now.
Yeah, probably. But.
Well, we'll definitely get a championship update, but man, you're in victory lane tonight. It was a heck of a run, and it was obvious you had all the speed on the late run.
Yeah, the car really did well on the long run. I had gotten my tail whooped by AJ Godsey a couple years ago in a truck race here, and I learned a lot from him, so I was just trying to do what he did.
Well, it definitely worked, buddy. Congratulations.
Thank you, Doug.
All right, it does look like we have all of our top three now, so let's start with John Talley. John, I have to say, Pete Norquist is usually the one charging through the field, but man, you marched up 18 spots tonight.
Yeah, so kind of messed up both of my qualifying laps. Just barely brushed the wall, so both of them didn't count. Started at the tail end of the field, had no speed. Funny enough, I noticed that I had no left side tire wear, so I went ahead and went with the 2-tire gamble, and it kind of paid off.
Well, man, that is a big gamble here, but it really did pay off, man. That was a great strategy, and, man, you marched it through the field.
Thanks so much. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Well, great job, buddy. And let's get a word with second place, Blake Viken. Blakey Pooh Snickerdoodle Boo Boo, your best run in home motorsports, and you come home in second. Was a heck of a drive.
Yes, sir.
It has been a while since I talked to you, but man, you had an amazing run tonight, and you were up there battling all night.
Yeah, it's been a while. I've been pretty busy since that night shift thing, but yeah, had a pretty good car. Just burned up my tires there at the end.
Well, man, still a heck of a run. Great to see you back on the podium, buddy.
Thank you. Missed you, buddy.
And we have Kevin Bruner with what is going to be a very close championship at the end of this.
Oh, extremely close, Doug, and for some reason the point site is not letting me put up the results yet.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, uh-oh's right.
Well, any guesses on this, doing the math in your head?
I don't know if Jeff was able to do enough back in the pack there to keep Mark behind him. Mark was 8 points behind to start the race, and I think Jeff probably finished more than 8 places behind him.
Let's see. Jeff finished exactly in 8th. But he did end up leading the most laps, I do believe. Man, what a night for championship contenders, huh?
Oh yeah.
You know, in 5 years of broadcasting, I have never heard of anybody getting that penalty that Vic got. And wow, that's kind of an odd one and definitely an odd situation to have.
Yeah, I'm not 100% what happened there. I believe he was probably speeding at the line or speeding coming to the green. I don't really know.
Well, it's definitely an interesting end to this. And it's still not showing the results yet.
Yeah, it's weird. Even even iRacing, when I go to look at the season, it's it's giving me an error for some reason, and that's right through iRacing.
Well, we may have to post the results here in a little bit. Once you have them, if you want to message them to me, I'll be happy to post them.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks for the great season, Doug.
A huge shout out to Navy Joe Coffee for coming on board for the final half of the season. Go check them out at navyjoe.coffee. And folks, don't go anywhere. We are going to try and live switch you over to the Unicorn Trucking so everybody can enjoy the fun and hilarity that is that. So hold on. Here we go.